As a follow-up to the first video, I still have my radius of curvature set at 109 and my index of refraction of 1.6. But I wanted to also point out that for other object locations, well, first of all, your object locations are all set on WebAssign, so you need to get those values from WebAssign. But for the object to be located closer to the lens and closer to the focal point, the second place you're going to place the object is between twice the focal length and the focal length of the lens. So remember that this was set at 90, and so twice the focal length was 180. So if I put it somewhere in between there, something like this, it's possible that your image will disappear off of the screen. And so how are you going to measure the image distance? So the easiest thing to do is to take the lens, and you can actually physically move the lens. And so you can grab it, you can move it to different locations, right? And you can even move it up or down, which we really don't want to do. We want to kind of keep it there. But that's now things are closer. So now if I use my ruler and I set this at a distance of around, let's say we do it at about 170 or something like that, I don't know. Whatever WebAssign told me to do it, to set it at. There's 170. Okay. Now I have my object distance located between the focal point and twice the focal point. Maybe I'll even go over here. Let's go a little closer just to see how this works. So we have it set at 150 centimeters. So now I can measure my image location, which is over here. Well, turns out my ruler's not long enough. So if this does happen, then just measure from the focal point, because you know that the distance between the lens and the focal point is 90. So just measure the distance from the focal point over to the image, which is over here. It's hard for me to see this. Somewhere right here. So you measure this distance right here, which is somewhere about 136, and then you add the 90 to it, and that will allow you to measure what that image location is. So hopefully that won't happen, but if it does happen, you can measure from this point and then add 90 if the ruler is not long enough. The other thing I wanted to point out is that eventually you're going to get to a point where for the third activity you have to move the image so that it's inside the focal point. And when that happens, the image disappears. And so you have to go up here and you have to show the virtual image. And it should show up on the same side of the lens as the object is. That's called a virtual image, and that image distance, you still measure it the same way. So here's my object distance, it's like around 50, and my image distance right here is around 120 something, but that image distance is recorded as being a negative value, and you have to keep that negative value anytime the image is on the same side of the lens as the object. In all of your calculations, this image distance is going to be negative.